Hey guys, this is a very special episode for me because I'm going to be talking to a teacher from Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, the site of the September 4th unnecessary violence initiated by a student, which took 4 innocent people from this world, 2 precious students, and 2 incredible teachers. So many of you probably saw this social media post from an Apalachee High School teacher. It started with, I lied. I lied to my kids. Now, this post was by Jennifer Carter, a Spanish teacher at the high school, and it went viral. So here's my connection to Jennifer. First of all, I am a teacher, a Spanish teacher in a public school. So this conversation is very important to me, and this is a very real issue for me personally. But also, Jennifer is actually my cousin. And I wanted to get her story out because we have to do something in our country. There are just way too many events like this, and we just have to do something to end this. And so I thought it would be best to hear it straight from someone who has lived through it. And that is on this episode. Let's get to it. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with me today.
Well, thanks for asking me. I appreciate it. I appreciate a chance to tell my story.
Yeah, and I gotta just say it really quickly. You said yes to me, but you said no to, oh, I don't know, Oprah.
I said no to Oprah. I said no to ABC, CBS, Univision,
Oh,
NPR, CNN. So
I guess family has to stick together, but thank you so
family
much.
sticks together. I wanted somebody who was going to use it for the right purposes. So
Well, I do. I said in my intro, I just, I want to get your story out because we have to do something. And
right,
these kinds of events are too common in our country, and we don't see it in a lot of other countries, or at least first world country. I don't know how you want to categorize it, but
right,
that can get it. That's a whole different discussion in itself. But we don't see this in many other countries,
right.
and so the more we can just make ourselves think about this and possibly do something to better. So I think it's best to hear it from somebody like you who has lived through this. And so, if you don't mind, I just want to start. It's the day of. It's September the 4th.
Okay.
Can you walk me through the beginning of the day? Just set it up. I mean, it's a normal day. What were you doing that morning?
So normal day at Appalachie, I get there about 7:15, go in my classroom, we get stuff together. I have bus duty from 7:45 to 8:15.
Hmm.
So I went in and I did my bus duty, got all the kids to class, got everything situated. Went to check my mailbox, ran into Christina Iremy, had a little conversation with her. That sticks out in my mind. She always had something to sing. She sang "You Are My Sunshine" that morning.
Oh,
Um, and just a little short conversation. And went to my classroom, did my first period planning, and we were in second period. It's my Spanish 4, 5, 6 class. And we had just finished, I don't remember what we were doing, but we were on a bathroom break. I'm right by the bathroom. So instead of issuing passes, we do bathroom breaks. So
right.
my kids were in the hall at about 10:20. And I knew we had a lockdown drill scheduled for September. It was
Okay.
September 24th, but I thought I got my days wrong, and it was September 4th when the lockdown screen came over my television.
Hmm.
So I went and checked my calendar and realized it was not a drill. I realized that it was real. But I had already told my kids it's a drill. It was planned for this month. So I just kept lying to my kids because what else are you going to do at this point? So I get all my kids back from the bathroom as fast as I can. One little girl, she panicked and she didn't come back. She said she'd always heard if there was ever an alarm, you hide in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So she was in the bathroom the entire time by herself, hiding in a stall. She was the only one that wasn't accounted for. So I get them in. Protocol is, you close your door, you turn off the lights. I have couches. I don't have desks anymore. I have all couches and recliners and stuff. And so I have my furniture arranged in a way that I can just flip it for a drill and we can all
Yeah.
hide behind it. So we flipped
Okay.
the couches. Everybody was behind the couches. I had a recliner between the two couches that I was in because I was still hidden because I knew it wasn't a drill and I wanted to be able to get up quick if I needed to. Um,
Right.
so we're all just sitting there and they're trying to laugh. And I just keep saying, y'all just be quiet. The faster you're quiet, the faster we get up. You know how it works. This is just a drill. And I remember we would hear noises and what was that? It's like, that was just the air conditioner cutting on. Oh, okay. Just the air conditioner. But then we heard banging on the door and we heard people. I'm right at the end of the hallway. So we heard the outside door, people trying to get in. It was police officers because sirens had come down the hill from the elementary school and middle school. And at that point, when they heard our principal's voice outside, I had to come clean. And I had to tell them, guys, this is real. Everybody's okay. Just stay calm. And so at that point, it got serious real fast because I had one of our assistant principal's children in that classroom.
Oh,
And I had our long-term subs child in that classroom. And my daughter was somewhere else in the building. And so the three of us, we didn't know what was going on. They did not have access to their cell phones. And this still bothers me now. I followed policy. We put our cell phones in our backpack. Our backpacks were
yeah.
in the back of the room. So my kids had no access to their cell phones, and which means parents couldn't get in touch with them. And I couldn't get in touch with parents because Remind was jammed and I couldn't get a message out. So those 18 parents didn't know how their kids were. I also didn't text Anna, my own daughter, because I didn't want her phone going off because I didn't know where everything was taking place. So
Right.
we had,
Smart.
yeah, we had no contact until we had evacuated. So we're quiet, we're still. The assistant principal, whose son was in my room, unlocks the door and says, this is his name. You're safe. Go to the football field. And at that point, we all got up, and of course, he hugged his son, and it was wonderful that they were able to do that. But we walk out, and there are police officers there at the ready with their guns, and I mean, with good reason, with their guns drawn and ready just in case, because they didn't know who might be in the room. And so we walk out, hands up, out to the football field, and just we're there. We're outside forever. I mean, we get out there about 10, 50, 11 o'clock, and we're out there till about 4 o'clock.
Oh,
Um, so, but we were lucky on my end because I was on the other end of the school. So, that's pretty much how it went down for me. I was removed from it. My students were oblivious for most of it. I did a good job because the assistant principal's son went home and said, Dad, Miss Carter thought it was a drill the whole time. So I did a good job lying to them, and I was able to kind of keep them calm for as long as possible.
yeah.
So
Well, I've thought about that. I read your article or your post, I should say.
mhm.
I've thought about that quite a bit. And if your kids in your class had known it was real, I'm thinking what I'm trying to process what you saved them from,
Right,
because they would have been worried out of their minds that it would have been
right,
terribly traumatic.
right.
And I think that you saved your kids in your room a lot of I don't know if you want to call it PTSD, whatever. You
Well,
call
that's
it.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, but and part of me is wanting to know, okay, unless it came to you into your area,
Mhm.
what good would it have been for them
Right.
to? There would have been no benefit.
Right. I mean, even in my kids, if I had said it's real, they still would have done exactly what I asked them to do because of the relationship we have.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, if I had said, y'all, this is real, hide and be quiet versus this is a drill, hide and be quiet, their actions weren't going to change. But mentally, they were able to they were sitting there laughing and, whispering back and forth and just cutting up like they always do instead of being terrified. So that just,
absolutely.
you go into mom mode. Honestly, I went into mom mode. How can I protect my kids? So,
Yeah. And I get it. I tell my wife often, I went into dad mode when I'm
yeah,
at work because our kids, we love them, even though they're not our blood kids, but we love those kids.
yeah,
And there's sometimes we have to kind of restrain ourselves because we really want to go into mom or dad mode.
right.
Um, but you start you go into that mode where I just want to do everything to help this kid and protect this kid.
Yeah.
So okay, so the thing with the phones, how would you have had time to really process that? They're not going to
Right.
have their phones and all the way till who knows how long.
Right. Well, Anna didn't have her phone. Anna had her phone with her, but it fell on the floor. And where she was in the building, she was close to everything. And so where she was in the building, her phone fell when she stood up, and the police officer said, come out with your hands up. And she was afraid to bend down and pick up her phone. So her phone was in the building for a week, just like all of my students were. That made me feel a little bit better, but at least I knew she was okay. And they
Right.
had those, few hours of agony that really got to me. Um,
Yeah,
and I'll be honest with you, I really rethought how we do cell phones in my classroom. So, but
it makes sense. So you say your daughter was on the other side
she was
near.
on, she was on, so I don't know if you can see my hands, but like J Hall goes this way. She was on one of the hallways that ends into J Hall.
Mhm.
And the hall or the classroom that Aspinwall and Phoenix were in was on her hallway, on the very end of her hallway.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't I don't want to ask a stupid question
There's no
because
stupid.
I've heard I've heard people ask some stupid questions, but at what point did you like at what point was it that you heard what had happened in terms of some of your colleagues and a couple of your students were
As
taken out?
as soon as people started coming up onto the football field, because we were probably one of the first ones out because we were on the other side of the building and the very end of the hallway closest to the football field. But as soon as some of the teachers and counselors and people started coming out, I knew some people had either been killed or hurt, but I didn't know who yet. So just kind of being in the dark on that was horrible. Um, and
Yeah.
I didn't know even that day when I left the school, I didn't know. I had to get Allison, my oldest daughter, she left. She's in school at Emory. She left and came out there because I didn't have a way home because my car keys were in my classroom and they wouldn't let us back in the building because it was a crime scene. So she came and she picked us up and brought us home. Um, but not knowing until later the next day, we got together the next morning. The faculty did at a different school. And that's when we found out who all it was. So,
Wow. Uh,
so
it's well, you find out everything. Um, then the community kicks in.
yes.
Tell me about the community support.
Well, first of all, even before the community support, a lot of time administrators get a bad rap. And we're told that administrators don't support teachers and that the Board of Education doesn't support teachers. And I have to say that in this experience, I have never been more proud to be a Bear County employee. Our administrators did everything right from the start to today. And so did our Board of Education. Our superintendent has been fabulous. Our governor has been fabulous. He's been out multiple times. And so even before the community steps in, our administration handled everything perfect. I want that said because that doesn't happen often, and our resource officers handled everything perfectly. They ran toward the gunfire, instead of waiting. They took it on themselves and they handled it.
Yeah.
I also want to say before I go to the community thing that CNICS badges that we have, the little badges that we wear with the button,
Hmm.
every school should have them. That's something that we should work on. Every school should have them. It saved lives because it gives an exact GPS location of where that alarm went off. Um,
Okay.
every school should have them. But now
Now,
going from there, starting that day, starting September the 4th, the community around us found out that we were all out there. The kids went out before lunch. There was no water, there was nothing. So people just started bringing in cases of water and popsicles and just like passing it out in the football field, because by this point, parents were up there with us as well. So from that point on, the community support has been phenomenal. I know you've heard about some of the different benefits that have happened. The Rock came to a thing this past weekend. Jelly Roll did a free concert for us.
absolutely.
The motorcycle ride, there have been a couple of those. I got to be involved with one with my Uncle Jeff.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting in church and he sent me a text and said, "Hey, I've got a helmet if you want to ride." I had never been on a motorcycle before, Danny, ever.
Really?
So I look at Andy and we get up and walk out of church and I go ride with Jeff, but there were about 1,500 bikes in that ride.
Wow.
It has been phenomenal. The businesses that have come together to take care of the kids, down to things as simple, I say simple, weighted stuffed animals. People have purchased 2,000 weighted stuffed animals, one for every kid in the school. The community support, providing counseling, providing therapy dogs, the subs that are volunteering time just to come sit in the hallway so kids feel safe and we can step out when we need to. It has been humbling. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I'm curious. You're talking about the students because they're the reason that we do what we do.
Right.
And just hearing the discussions in the hall or in your class, how do you think overall they're doing with processing all this in the aftermath?
The ones that I deal with are doing okay. Some of them are struggling. We have about 88% attendance right now, which is really good, I think. Some of them that were closer are struggling, obviously, but with the support that we're giving them and the way that the school started back, we started half days and then we had fall break and then we're back full time. But just the way we're handling in the classroom, 90 minutes is a long time anyway, but we're not teaching for 90 minutes right now. We're doing a lot of community building and relationship building stuff. And that's what that's where the admin and counseling and everything, they need to be commended at Apalachee. Because they're making it as positive as they can. And I think the kids are doing better than I expected them to do. So a lot of times they're doing better than I am. So
I understand. I want to go back to the device you were talking about.
Yes.
What's it called?
It's CNICS.
Okay. Right. I've heard of it. Couldn't recall the name right off, but tell me how that works. How do you have to hit it a certain number of times or?
Yeah. So it's just a white badge that we wear with our ID badge and it's got a button. And if you press it 3 times, admin comes. It's like if there's a fight in your room, somebody passes out in your room, someone falls, you can hit it 3 times and help is on the way.
Okay.
If you hit it 8 times, it locks the whole campus down. Immediately, the campus locks down and it alerts the sheriff's department. It alerts everybody and everybody comes. And so we had that going off all over that area of the building that day. There were at least 5 or 6 hits, I think, of teachers hitting their badge.
Okay.
And they were able to pinpoint GPS locations for every one of them to see where to go. And that, it saved lives.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an app that every teacher has. You go on it, it's just a tap, 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 and the whole place is locked down.
Yeah.
But part of me, I wonder which is better, the hit and just grab it, because your badge is here.
Right.
Grab it and go, or
what if, right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't always have my phone on me. Yeah. And even if I'm outside, like if I'm up on the football field or if we're on the nature trail, I can hit the badge and they can still find me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if yours has the GPS aspect of it. That's what I think is so nice. I won't be on campus without it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I wanted to get your thoughts because I've said in my intro, we have to do something. I know I'm going to get comments. Well, what are we going to do? And what do you think we should do? And the honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I just think it has to be addressed. So, I mean, do you have any thoughts on, do we have metal detectors? Do we do something beyond, or do you have any thoughts?
Here's my thoughts on metal detectors is, if you look at the legality of it, metal detectors, first of all, or even just the logistics of it, every kid is passing through it. So we have 2,000 students.
Yeah.
So what time will they have to be there to turn our
Right.
school into a TSA checkpoint? Because that's
Right.
what it's going to become.
Yep.
And then if you do find something, the resource officers legally can't search them. It would have to be a school employee. So it's going to fall on me or you.
Yeah.
You feel comfortable putting your hands on a student? Because I know if my daughter came home and said, Mr. So-and-so searched me today, I would have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I don't want the liability of that. So
No.
that's the problem with metal detectors.
Yeah.
The problem with clear bags, in my opinion, is then you've got your sports bags. They're not going to be clear. You've got band instrument cases. They don't make those clear.
No.
It's still going to be, I mean, if you want to get something in, you're going to find a way. There are other ways to get things into a building. So I'm not sure clear bags are the answer either.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts at home.
Yes.
It starts at home, and it starts at getting those kids who don't have it at home the support they need at a younger age, before they get to high school. Because a lot of times by the time they get to high school, they've made their decisions. So
True. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for talking to me, for helping get your story out. I hope that this will influence people and maybe get us together to raise our voices a little bit louder, that something has to change.
yes. Thank you for giving me a chance to do this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I want to say a very special thanks to Jennifer for talking to me today. Please share this story with as many people as you can, because I want to do everything I can to get her story out. So hopefully, maybe sometime in our country, we'll do something about this senseless violence and put an end to it. But until I see you on the next episode, I wish for you and all your family and friends peace and blessings. I'll see you soon.